In November 2019, a radio host in New Mexico received an anonymous email. The sender claimed they had worked at Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro ranch and said two young foreign women had died there under violent circumstances and were buried somewhere in the hills surrounding the property. The radio host forwarded that email directly to the FBI. The FBI received it, acknowledged it, and then did absolutely nothing with it for 7 years. We know this because in early 2026, that exact email quietly surfaced inside the Department of Justice's massive Epstein document release, and people started asking the question that should have been asked in 2019. Why did nobody investigate? The anonymous email was specific in ways that are difficult to dismiss entirely. The sender said they had personally worked at Zorro Ranch, Epstein's sprawling 10,000-acre property outside Stanley, New Mexico, and they described two young women they referred to as foreign girls who died there under what they called violent conditions. They claimed the women were buried in the hills around the ranch property. The sender also said they had video evidence of crimes committed at the ranch and offered to provide that footage in exchange for payment in Bitcoin. No footage was ever delivered, and the sender was never identified. Now, it would be easy to dismiss this as an anonymous tip with no follow-through, and the New Mexico Attorney General's office has been careful to describe the claims as unverified and unproven. But here is the part that is harder to explain away. The radio host who received this email says he sent it to the FBI in November 2019, just months after Epstein's arrest in July of that year, and just months before Epstein died in federal custody in August 2019. The timing matters because in 2019, the FBI was actively investigating Epstein's network. They had resources, momentum, and a direct line to everyone connected to the ranch. And they received a specific claim about bodies buried on Epstein's property. And they did nothing. For years, that email sat buried largely out of public view until the DOJ released it as part of the broader Epstein document dump in early 2026. When it resurfaced, Stephanie Garcia Richard, New Mexico's Public Lands Commissioner, moved quickly. She sent formal letters to both the New Mexico Attorney General's office and the U.S. Attorney's office, demanding a thorough investigation into the allegations. Her concern went beyond the claim itself, because state-owned land directly adjacent to Zorro Ranch had been under lease to Epstein's company until she personally canceled those leases back in 2019. The Attorney General's office responded carefully, saying the claims remain unverified and that they would need full unredacted documentation before they could determine whether a formal investigation was warranted. As of now, no official criminal search or excavation has taken place at the property. But the political response has continued to grow. New Mexico lawmakers recently approved a bipartisan commission specifically designed to investigate what happened at and around Zorro Ranch. The commission has the authority to gather testimonies, review evidence, and determine whether any laws were violated at the property during the years Epstein owned it. This is significant because it represents the first formal official mechanism created specifically to scrutinize the ranch, something that never happened during the years Epstein was alive, despite years of federal investigation into his activities. The buried bodies claim may turn out to be unverifiable. The anonymous sender never followed through. No physical evidence has been found, and the Attorney General has been careful not to treat an unverified tip as established fact. But the question this story raises isn't really about whether the specific claim is true. The question is why a specific allegation sent directly to the FBI in 2019 while they were actively investigating Epstein was received and then set aside without any documented follow-up whatsoever. Zorro Ranch hosted some of the most powerful people in Epstein's network over the years. Flight logs, testimony, and documents have connected dozens of names to that property. And a formal investigation into what happened there is only now beginning, 7 years after someone tried to warn the FBI and got no response. Whether the commission finds anything or not, that 7-year silence is itself worth understanding.